Hello, everyone, and welcome to the EPICS and IEEE Best Practices for Service Learning virtual panel. EPICS stands for Engineering Projects in Community Service and empowers university students to work with technical professionals and community organizations to solve community challenges through technology. Through service learning experiences, students enhance their practical engineering and professional skills to prepare them for their future engineering careers. During this panel discussion, you will hear from past EPICS and IEEE project team members about their experience and advice for students, faculty, and IEEE members who want to successfully implement engineering service learning projects. EPICS and IEEE is thrilled to have Leah Jamieson, past IEEE President, co-founder of EPICS at Purdue University, and current Distinguished Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering at Purdue University, lead this exciting panel of successful project team leaders. A few housekeeping items. This event is being recorded and a link will be sent to all registrants after the event. If you have any questions during the event, please use the chat function. We will follow up after the event on any questions that we're not able to answer during the event. We hope that you find the panel informative, and we thank you for helping EPICS and IEEE celebrate our 15th anniversary and IEEE Education Week. Without further ado, I will turn things over to our moderator, Leah Jamieson. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. And to all of you who have joined us, welcome. I'm honored to be part of the celebration of the 15th anniversary of EPICS and IEEE, and to be a part of IEEE Education Week. I'm most excited, though, because we have 4 awesome panelists here to share their EPICS and IEEE stories with you. Panelists, will you please each introduce yourself? And Anthony, would you start?
Yes, the EPICS in IEEE community, fellow panelists, and our today's participants. Yes, good evening. I'm called Anthony Tumwebazie, and I'm currently working as an engineer at Abbott Construction Company Limited, and I'm also an IEEE Young Professional member. I must say that I'm really happy to be part of this event or panel discussion, and I can't wait to take you through my experience with installation of solar system at Itara Health Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Brian. I'm a senior at Arizona State University, and my EPICS project is called Project Koyash, where we built solar paneled air filtration units for communities in Mongolia. EPICS and IEEE funded our project with $10,000, which allowed us to implement 13 units there. I'm excited to speak with everyone today and give some background about our project.
Thank you. And Jayant.
Hey everyone, I'm Jayant Suikar. I'm from Bangalore, India. I recently graduated from Rama Institute of Technology here itself in Bangalore, where me and the amazing team that I work with created and designed a solution to make the life of visually impaired people better. We designed a solution called Our Vision that tries to help guide through their life navigation, reading, all the various sorts of things which I would love to talk about here. And try to just mention how it impacted their life and also changed our life while working on it. So happy to be here and talk on this panel.
Thank you. And Victoria.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victoria Serrano, and I am a faculty member at the Technological University of Panama. And actually, I had 2 projects that were funded by EPICS and IEEE. The first one was when I was still a PhD student in Arizona State University. And the second one is a current one that is called Closing the Gap in Engineering Education for People with Disabilities, that is just trying to provide solutions for people with disabilities in our community. So I'm very excited to be here and share part of my experience with the EPICS projects.
Okay, thank you all. So we're going to get started, and we've done that. You've each talked a little bit about your project. If you could just take a minute or two more, each of you, to elaborate on the project, but and most importantly, what the result was of your project. And again, Anthony, we'll start with you.
Yes, first and foremost, I would like to take this opportunity to appreciate EPICS in IEEE for supporting different project ideas and that are different project ideas that are causing significant changes in the lives of people. Yes, with this great support, very many project ideas have been brought into improving well-being of people. Yes, it is from this support that I been able to lead a group of IEEE volunteers to implement the installation of solar system at Itara Health Center. Itara Health Center is a rural health center in the western region of Uganda, and most rural health centers in Uganda are so substandard, lacking medical supplies, electricity, and clean water. So Itara Health Center was one of those lacking electricity and and clean water access. So to tackle this challenge, we proposed the installation of a solar system at Itara Health Center project. Uh, the project that provided the health center with clean water and reliable supply of electricity through solar. Yes, the project attracted a group of project stakeholders, that is IEEE volunteers, Davis and Shatliff, Changing Lives Uganda officials, together with the local leaders and the community who came together with a joint effort and committed shared the commitment to ensure the project success. Yes, I must say that it was a great success because the health center is now able to run even during the night, unlike before where they used kerosene lamps. Um, its operation also was based on candles in the night, or else the health center would simply close without attending to patients that would report at the health center in need of medical support. But as we talk of now, the health center is able to run vaccine refrigerators. It is having improved laboratory works, all because of the works that have been done there in the support of EPICS in IEEE. We must say
Okay,
that we are really grateful for this. Thank you.
thank you. I'm Brian.
Yes, hello everyone again. Our project is called Project Koyash, where we build these solar panels that help power air filtration units in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. And for context, Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia is one of the coldest capital cities in the world. And because of that, the residents burn raw coal in order to stay warm or cook food or other kind of necessities. And what we wanted to is kind of build a refuge from this poor air quality inside their homes. So we use solar panels, batteries, Arduinos, inverters, and an air filter to help power an air filtration system that allows clean air to continue to circulate in their homes. And the impact of that is that outside air quality is pretty much unbreathable. But with our system, we're able to bring the air quality inside their homes to a breathable level.
Fantastic. Thank you. Dan.
Hello. So the whole basis of our project began with how many braille books are out there that blind can actually read. How many publishers do actually publish in braille at the same time they publish in English? How many restaurants out there have menus written in braille that blind people can read? So that formed the basis of our project, And on top of that, we built our solution so that blind people can easily read anything. Let's say an English book out there, you can just use our device and read that out, and you can understand whatever's present in it. Let's say you're navigating through your park, it says whatever obstacles are present there, whatever's close to you, everything out there. And with this small step, what we wanted to do was make any visually impaired person's life better. And while working with our community partner, we realized the various points that we could use in our project and make our vision a whole lot better than what we plan to create it as. So that's just a small part of what we actually created.
Thank you. And Victoria.
Yes, well, the project that we are still running was based on 4 different activities because we were trying to close that gap for people with disabilities. And one of the activities was just to create 3D printed plates so that those signs could be located in different sections of the university, so that a person with visual disabilities could go and touch it, so that he or she could see or could find different offices or even classrooms throughout the university, just by touching and reading in the Braille system. And the other activity was to automate doors, so that when a person with a wheelchair goes to the university, she or he can go through the different locations. The other one was just to automate a traditional wheelchair with some devices such as an Arduino board, so that they could use a joystick and transport through the different places around the university. And the other one was just to create um, some devices that were providing some audio information for people with visual disabilities to find and locate the different offices or cafeteria or libraries, for example, around the university, just by hearing the information how to access different locations. All those 4 activities were developed not only with university students, but also together with a group of high school students, so that they could all bring the solution to people with disabilities. Thanks.
Thank you all. And I can't imagine a stronger or more inspiring start to today's panel. And so what I'm going to do now is ask a handful of questions to get at different facets of what's involved in being part of an EPICS team, leading an EPICS team, guiding students, connecting with community. And so the first question, Jant, I'm going to ask if you will tell us what was the biggest lesson you've learned during your project?
Okay, I'll start with the fact that this is the 15th anniversary of EPICS in IEEE. So the full form of EPICS, being community service, is the main lesson all in all. So service learning, the main definition of it is working with a community rather than creating a project on your own. And what I realized is tunnel vision is actually real. So when you create a project on your own, do something or fix something on your own, you will be thinking of it in your own perspective, even though there are stakeholders involved, varieties of people that you would want to target. You will try to think by sitting in their chair, but still you aren't them. So working with stakeholders, trying to reach out to communities, getting insights from them is tides better than working alone or trying to work with a team without getting any real world inputs. And what we try to do in our project is the very same. So we, along with our mentor, reached out to a community partner and constantly went there and got inputs. So one such thing I remember is when we started our project. So our main thing was to read any sort of book present there. Let's say you have an English book, and we have glasses present where you wear them, and it reads whatever's present in the page. So we are in India, and dominantly English isn't even the second, third, or fourth language for people out here. So instantly, when the first input that we got was, hey, I cannot understand English. So I want to read English books, but I'm visually impaired, and now language is also a barrier. So this was something that we never thought of. This small input would help us create another feature that would help everyone in the blind association read books of English in whatever language that they required. So when they saw this, when they got our products, and when they got to experiment with it, they were listening in their own favorite language and understanding it completely. So seeing the look in their eyes and listening to their inputs on how amazing this creation was amazing for us, because we would never think of something like this. And that is why I think it is essential for us or anyone out there to just go talk to the stakeholders, review our products, review what's your status at, and carry forward. So one other part, at the end of while we were finishing our project, we were getting suggestions on how we can improve. And one suggestion that I recall every single time is, someone reached out to us and they were like, hey, can I use these glasses in my kitchen, because I have loads of spices present there and each of them are a different color, but I cannot clearly make out which is which. So we're like, sure, let us plug in some object recognition and solve that too for you. So all these insights are pretty amazing, and like each of these can make a difference in a person's life. So that is what I learned, because until you reach out, until you try to work with people out there, uh, projects don't make a major impact, because you need users, you need customers. Whatever you do, you gotta help people out there make their life better. And that's the whole basis of community service. That's the whole basis of EPICS. So glad to share that.
Thank you. And I'm going to actually ask the next question, and Jan, I'm going to ask you to just continue a little bit longer, because the next specific question is, how did your team identify and connect with your community partner? You had ideas, you saw an area of need. How did you go about making that connection?
We had the idea, as you stated. We were like, we wanted to create an impact for the visually impaired. But when we were searching for community partners, we were trying to look around, figure out, and our mentor played a key role in helping us find the right community partner. So Dr. Mega, our mentor, reached out to various places, and we too did reach out to multiple partners. And we finally got to talking with a place called National Association of the Blind. So there, once we reached out, they were happy to get us on board with them, because what we pitched our idea in such a way that they knew that it would create an impact for them and help everyone who's part of that association or part of that NGO. So once we reached out to them, we constantly had meetings, we constantly shared our progress. And in this sharing, we realized whatever suggestions that they provided to us, we can implement pretty quickly. And whatever suggestions or questions we had for them, we could do that as well. So a constant meeting with our community partner was arranged, and this back and forth happened, through which our project ended up finishing at the right time that we expected it to, and we ended up giving the devices to them, and they are still using it, and uh, make and it's making their life a bit easier than it is. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you. And Brian, the same question. How did your team identify and connect with your community partner?
So our story is actually a little unique. We really just reached out to as many organizations as possible about our idea, and found whichever organization was able to help us and was interested. So the way our project started is we read a story in the World Health Organization's bulletin about the air quality crisis in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. And then we thought, we're engineering students and we're in a program called Engineering Projects and Community Service. So why not try an innovative solution? So what we did is we reached out to dozens, if not even more, organizations and kind of gave them our little proposal and thought, why don't we find someone who, the group who lives there, who can kind of help us and guide us with the implementation as well as give advice. So we emailed dozens of organizations and we reached an agreement with the Taiwan Fund for Children and Families, where they kind of help provide us guidance with how to install our solution, as well as kind of the needs, requirements, as well as some context to everyday life there. So what we did is we kind of just reached out to as many people as possible, and then we found one that worked well with us, and we worked with them. And I think the key thing is to reach out to as many people as possible, because it's good to get insight and to work with other people to kind of hear their opinions. And I think that'll really help you create the best possible solution. And I think that's what we did really well, is we were able to garner lots of different opinions from different people.
Great, thank you. My camera and the platform do not appear to agree, so it has decided to just replace me with something else. So at least for the moment, I'm going to leave my very old picture up there, but I'm still here, and I'm just enthralled with what I'm hearing. So we're going to keep going. Our next question is, what do you think made your project successful? And Victoria, if you could start, and then Anthony, talk about what made your project successful.
I think that one of the key and the most important things here is just to find a very good organization, because when I approached to them, I told them, like, okay, we would like to provide a solution for people with disabilities, and especially because we were focusing on two of them, the visual disabilities and the physical disabilities. And when we told them about the idea, was because I told them, okay, if we have something in mind and we think that this is going to work for you, you are the ones who are going to tell us, and your feedback is going to be very valuable, because otherwise we are just thinking that this is going to work out for you, but probably this should be fixed or this should be modified. And that was one of the most important things to make our project very successful. And the collaboration with that organization was key. And it was, for example, at the beginning, very, very important to have one of their members bringing to their knowledge, to our university, about the Braille system. The first thing that the kids learned to be able to create the 3D printed plates was the Braille system, because otherwise they don't know what they are typing. They don't know what they are creating. They don't know if there is a typo in what they are in the design that they are doing. And one of the person who's part of the a nonprofit organization, she's blind, and she came to the university to teach us about the Braille system. And when we started learning about that, we created the first designs. And then at the end, we told them, like, okay, this is the first prototype that we have. Now we need to know if what we created is good, or it's good enough, or it's good and it's gonna be functional. And when she started bringing her fingers through the plate, she said, like, I understand what it's saying, but it's still too tough. So you have to make the surface a little smoother. And that's why we decided to put up a layer of resin, so that the plate was a little smoother, and now she could read better. So that's when you get that collaboration with a nonprofit organization, and and they provide the feedback that you need, that makes your project very successful. Another important thing for that is just to involve high school students, because that creates more sensibility so that they can feel what people with disabilities are feeling. So those are the two important things: get close to the nonprofit organization and get high school students involved to provide solutions with engineering for people with disabilities. Thanks.
Thank you. And Anthony, what made your project successful? We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Yes, provision of reliable electricity supply and clean water access to Itara Health Center marked the success of our project implementation. And this was actually accompanied by a couple of factors or steps that we had in consideration during the implementation process. So one of the factors or steps that we took was conducting a needs assessment. Well, when we conducted the needs assessment, we were able to identify the specific challenges that were hindering the medical service delivery at this health center. So we went to the community, we interacted with the health center management committee, and we were able to ask them what exactly is hindering medical service delivery at this health center. And they pointed out electricity supply and access to clean water, because there were a couple of patients reported to the health center, but they are not able to provide services to them when the night falls. That means the health center would close, and unattended patients would just go back home without any relief to their pain or to any sickness that they had. So secondly, my colleague had mentioned, stakeholder collaboration. Well, our project was also successful because of the project stakeholders that we were able to collaborate with, because this project attracted very many people who are actually supportive to its implementation process. And with a shared effort and commitment, we were able to reach the project's main goal, which was to provide a reliable electricity supply and access to clean water. Then the third point, what made our project successful, it was, sorry about that. The third point was quality materials. We were able to get in touch with a supplier that availed us with high quality project materials that really enable these project materials able to increase on the reliability and yes, and the durability of the project. As of now, the project has taken some good time, and I must say that it is really running. We've gotten information from the health center, and all they are telling us is that everything is now on point. That is really great. Then the fourth point, it was conducting trainings and capacity building. So with this step, we were able to build a strong team through training. We had to train the high school students and campus students who are involved as student volunteers in the project, and their effort was really vital in the implementation process. Yes, those are the main 4 points that really enabled us to attain the success in the implementation process of our project. Thank you.
Thank you. So, in almost all ambitious endeavors, there are setbacks. So, Brian, I'm going to ask if you would talk with us about, how can a team handle setbacks? And do you have examples with your own experience?
Yes, as you said, Dr. Jamieson, setbacks are inevitable. And I think that especially that's something that will happen no matter what. And I think especially with our project, we had lots of them. But in order to a team handling setbacks, I think the best way is to kind of have the mentality that you're going to keep trying with the same confidence and desire as you started with. So no matter how many times your team fails or something goes wrong, you will continue to have the same motivation and same passion that you had when you started. Because once you start to lose passion or motivation, then your project is already going kind of downward, but you want to keep it going in an upward trajectory. And some examples from our experience is that when we were first testing our solar panels and air filters, it wasn't working as well as we thought. The tests weren't going well. The air filtration wasn't really improving much. So what we did is we looked for different air filters, or we even created our own air filter and looked for different companies, or kind of tried enhancing the coding for the Arduino and try to just keep innovating to get it as robust as we possibly could. And I think that that process really helped us both learn and find the best solution, because I think if you don't have a setback, then you're kind of just accepting something that, oh, this is good enough, but we want to make ours as good as possible. So I think that was the mentality we had, that no matter how many times we failed, we would keep going with the same kind of confidence that we started with. And some specific examples are also with the implementation. I think, especially with our project and lots of EPICS and IEEE projects, designing the solution is one thing, but then actually implementing it is another. Because when we were designing our solution, we had control over lots of the different aspects, like the engineering or kind of the testing parameters, or just we could work with the system directly. But then we had to get all of our equipment across the world because we were implementing it in a different country, and we had to use shipping services to do that. And the first time we shipped our unit, it took 8 months to arrive, and it costed lots of money. But then what we did is we reached out to different organizations, and then eventually we got in contact with the Mongolian consulate, and they helped us ship everything for almost free and got it there within 3 months. So I think that some of the setbacks can just be used as lessons for the past, and really reflecting on these lessons is kind of the best way to handle setbacks. So you can both learn from the setbacks and you can have them to share with other people who might be going through something similar. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Anthony, we're going to come back to you because you are, in fact, an IEEE Young Professional. So how are the IEEE Young Professionals in the section involved in your projects, and how can IEEE groups support service learning projects? Can't hear you. I'm so good at this because I forget. So, we all do this. Okay, young professionals.
Yes. First and foremost, IEEE Young Professionals. These are early career scientists, innovators, and technologists. Yes, they have that great technical expertise that is really great. That is really great or important in the implementation of every project. Yes, so the IEEE Young Professionals brought diverse knowledge and skills in the implementation of the project. They, they joined the team of IEEE volunteers on the project team, and they they were able to to help us in the technical aspects of the project. Then the IEEE Young Professionals, together with the section, yes, the IEEE Young Professional.
Nope, we've lost your audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, I was saying that these young professionals bring diverse skills and knowledge on the project team that is really vital in the implementation of aspect of the project. Then the section was helped us in the receipt of funds and receipt and release of funds. So the section and IEEE young professionals, we all joined as one to form the project team that helped in the implementation process of the project. So they create a platform with their expertise. They helped to create a platform that was a learning platform for these young upcoming innovators. Those are the student volunteers that the young innovators, those are I'm referring to the student volunteers who are involved in the project that who are able to learn and pick skills, technical expertise, and knowledge from these professionals. Yes, with their experience, we were able to
Nope, Anthony, we lost you. It looks like maybe you're there, but you're muted. Okay. Yeah. We're going to wait a little bit and see if we can bring Anthony back. And then if not, we will go on to the next question and see if we can come back to this. Okay. So we are going to move on. IEEE didn't have young professionals when I was starting my career, but what I have come to learn over the past many years, and especially with EPICS and IEEE, and I say this to plant ideas to any of you who are joining us today, who are students, and also those of you who are supervising and working with students, that young professionals are a way that EPICS students can continue to stay involved with projects after they graduate. Look for an EPICS program that is active wherever students take a job, and it's a way that they can share their experience and continue to be involved. And so, going to move on to a question about motivation. So Victoria, would you talk with us about how you kept your students motivated throughout the project and what tips you would have for faculty or young professional advisors for keeping students motivated?
Yes, I think one of the things that I used was to reward them for little successes that they were having throughout the project. For example, when we had the first project that was sponsored by EPICS and IEEE, that was maybe like 7 years ago, and those little rewards were not big things, but that kept them motivated to achieve their goals, maybe in a faster space. For example, when we were learning about little projects in Arduino, we were saying, for example, okay, the first group who finishes that is gonna take double snacks, and they were just, you could see their faces, they were excited, and they were trying just to make it work first and before everybody else. And when they got their goal, they were like, okay, this they were reaching their hands saying, okay, we have it, and you could see their faces. And that's one of the things that we were doing. And the other things, because I also work with my university students, I try to encourage them that it's not only about what they are getting in their classes. It's not only about what they are, all the knowledge that they are receiving at the university. It's more about giving. And not only giving, this is not only an issue about giving something material, but giving their time. And it doesn't matter what you are doing, but when you are giving something to other people, that makes you feel better. And sometimes I encourage them just to give what they are receiving, even if they are learning about electronics, about um, how to integrate electronics and programming. Teach other people, teach kids who are interested in learning about that, how they can do that, that this is not something for geniuses, that this is something for real people. And when they are giving their time to teach other younger students, that makes them feel better. And so those are little things that we are doing just to keep them motivated. And of course, if I work with my university students, I also sometimes give them some rewards with extra points in projects, in in something that they are doing in their classes, and that also makes them feel motivated about doing their projects. So those are little things that we have done just to keep them motivated and keep them doing and working in their projects.
Okay, thank you. And so at the start, we talked early on about connecting with community partners. I want to move to the other end of that part of an EPICS and IEEE project. And I'd like to ask each of you if you would give some tips on how you got your project deployed in the community, and what challenges that might have you might have run into in doing that. And Jan, if you could start, that would be great.
Sure. So I think one thing that we were lucky with is our mentor set a defined schedule for each minor change that would happen or each minor progress. So if you have a fixed schedule, I know that there might be changes, there might be new requirements coming in, but if you have a goal, a short term goal that you can work for, then that is going to help you in the long term basis as well. So little rocks can build a huge pile. So similarly here, like in my opinion, short term goals are something that helped us make it happen. So uh, because when you look at a project on a large scale perspective, there might be a lot of requirements, there might be a lot of issues, but if you try to circle them down into minor tasks and divide among yourselves and your teams, then all of that can be conquered easily. So I think the whole perspective according to me is that as long as there is efficient task planning and the tasks being given to all your teammates and proper knowledge transfers happening, then the project is bound to succeed.
Okay, thank you. Anthony, you are back, and we've moved on to the next question. But since you are here, I want to take advantage of that. So the question is, can you share some quick tips on how you got your project deployed in the community?
Yes. Thank you. My apologies for that inconvenience that my tips. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Kindly repeat the question for me.
No, now we're not hearing you.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. You can hear me.
Yes. You and I are a good pair. We can hear you, but you
Okay.
can't
Thank
see
you.
me.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'm like, kindly repeat the question for me.
Oh, so the question is, get a tip on how you got your project deployed in the community.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, this is how we actually were able to implement our project in Itara community. First, we first conducted the needs assessment, where we through the needs assessment we were able to engage with local people and local leaders to understand exactly what was the challenges that were facing in their community. So by being able to identify the challenges, that's how we came to propose the project, whose main goal was to provide reliable electricity supply and clean water access to the health center. Then secondly, were able to we engaged with other different stakeholders, the supportive project stakeholders like Davis and Shatleaf, chair officials from Changing Lives Uganda, and Rwansinga High School students, who came together to form a strong team that helped in the implementation of the project. More so, we had to carry out capacity building to keep these final beneficiaries of the project with maintenance skills, so that they will take on the task of maintaining this project to so as to benefit from it for a long period of time. Then we've also been able to establish a monitoring and evaluation team that keeps checking the progress of the project in terms of delivering the intended benefits to the community. By all these steps, we've been able to maintain these benefits, or this solution to the challenges that this health center has actually been facing in their ways of operation. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Victoria, a quick tip on getting deployed.
I think one of the most important things is just to get involved with the community, and that's why EPICS stands for. Because no matter how much you are learning in engineering at the university with all the calculus and all the formulas and all the digital and analog signals, if you don't get involved with the community and you see what their needs are, no matter how much you're learning, because the key is just to provide a solution for the community and the needs that they are having. If you don't get involved, you cannot see face to face what the challenges that they are facing are. You don't know any about the needs that they are having. So get involved with the community, and that way you are gonna start finding people who are gonna help us to propose a good project.
Great, thank you. And Brian,
I
success in
think
deploying.
yeah, a quick tip I have for that is to be as thorough as possible and detailed as possible when you first start your project. So that way, throughout designing everything, you kind of can keep in mind and the beginning part and don't have to make changes throughout. So I think that doing very long interviews over a period of time to see exactly what solution you want to create is probably the best way, I think, to actually help you with the deployment stage, even if that's a year later.
Okay. And so then this will be our last question. And this is, we've been talking about tips for deployment, but this is focused on what tips you have for future EPICS and IEEE project leaders to be successful in any aspect of the project. And Brian, if we could continue with you, and then we'll move to the next people.
Yeah, that's a great question. And thank you all for coming. And I think the best tip I have would probably be to enjoy the journey of the project, because I know that lots of people want to wait till the end to kind of look back and be happy and kind of think about everything. But if you really enjoy each step of the way, I think that's a good plan to stay motivated and to also kind of enjoy and learn and kind of keep going, because I think that you should, every milestone, whether it's little or big, you should kind of reflect and learn from what you did the last month or last few months, and then use that as a means to go forward, because I think that we often kind of just keep going without looking back. And I think that when you kind of just celebrate throughout the project instead of waiting till the end, that's a good way to kind of keep your project going, keep everyone happy, and stay on the course. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony, a tip for future EPICS and IEEE project leaders to be successful?
Yes, to be able to implement a project successfully and ensure that you achieve the goal you're aiming at, tip number one, you will have to really understand the challenge you're trying to solve, because when you fully understand a challenge that is actually a priority to the community, you will have to you will get a joint effort from the people that are being affected. That is tip number one. And tip number two, ensure on project stakeholder collaboration. Try to build a strong partnership with different organizations, companies that will help you to achieve the project goal. And tip number three, I can say that also try to uh, try on the community engagement. Like really, the community will be the final beneficiaries of the project. So you have to really get in touch with them so that they can embrace the project, because if they do not embrace the project, they will mistake your solution for some other something that might hinder your project implementation process. And tip number four, I can say that communication is also key in this in the implementation process of the project, because with communication, when you establish communication channels, you're able to be at par with the fellow project stakeholders. To You're able to be at par with them and share the progress of the project to so that you can be at the same baseline in the implementation process. Thank you.
Thank you. And Victoria, tips for future EPICS project leaders?
Well, I think that one of the key things is just to work with a mentor. And if you find a person who has applied to EPICS in IEEE in the past and has gotten a project deployed, I think that person can help you better throughout the process. So work with a mentor is key to have the key elements from the proposal. And another tip that I had was just to look at the projects that has been funded by EPICS in the past. You can even go online to their website and find all the projects that has been funded so that you have a better idea if the project that you have in mind can be successful for EPICS in IEEE or not. Because sometimes you have projects in mind, but they don't fit in the scope of EPICS. But if you go to the website and see the projects that has been implemented in the past, you have a better idea of what to or how to modify your project so that it can fit to with EPICS in IEEE.
Great, thank you. And finally, Gian, tips for future EPICS and IEEE project leaders.
Yep, I think the panel covered amazing points here. And one thing I would say is uh, you're already trying to create something for the community, then you already have taken the first step to be successful. So as long as you take on the right requirements and create the right design and development for it, you rarely see something affected. So uh, if you have a great team with insights on whatever you work on, or they are agile enough to learn them, then there should be no setback for you to finish that project up. And I think Victoria already brought about the fact that a great community partner is essential for a project to be successful, and it is essential for you to pick the right community partner so that it helps you in the long term basis. So that's my take as well.
Great, thank you very much. I'm going to try my camera one more time. And seeing nothing, I will go back to here. And I wrap up today's webinar. So this brings us to the end of today's panel. I'm going to ask you to please join me in at least in your mind and in your heart, thanking our 4 outstanding panelists. We appreciate your insights, your passion, your persistence, and all that you have been accomplished, and certainly for being with us today. I also want to thank the EPICS and IEEE donors and partners for their supportive projects like the ones you heard about today. You heard our panelists refer to a grant from EPICS and IEEE. These grants are possible because we do have donors who are supporting the program. If we've moved you today, consider joining the ranks of those donors. I want to extend a special thanks to the IEEE Foundation for their support of the program over a very long time and their support for student projects around the world. To all of you attending, and there's been very active conversations in the chat, thank you. Thank you for being here. Service learning through programs such as EPICS is one of the ways that IEEE advances technology for the benefit of humanity. We hope we've inspired you to learn more and become part of existing EPICS and IEEE project or program in the future, or start one at your own institution. And the EPICS and IEEE, as noted on the block of text that has come up, is available, has support. The webpage has a wealth of information. And if you have questions, further questions, please do write at Ashley, and she will be answering some of them, but also coming back to our panelists to answer the ones if you have specific questions for the panelists. So thank you for joining us, and happy anniversary, EPICS and IEEE.